It is now time, though, to take an in-depth look at what is making news this morning, and we're joined on the couch by infectious disease expert Dr. Lini Fuong.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
This story that you've picked out for us, first of all, is on ABC Online. We're going to ask the Health Minister about it a little later, but Ramsay Health set to close psychology clinics. Tell us why this is such a big deal, and is it going to put a lot more pressure on the public system?
Yeah, absolutely. So the story behind this is that 17 out of 20 psychology clinics across Australia are going to be closed by September. And so, as you said, it's going to be a big deal in terms of the public health system because, as we know, there's already a big strain on the mental health services in Australia. And we know in terms of demand, so the National Mental Health Commission report was released only this month, and it found that 4.3 million Australians, so 1 in 5 people aged between 16 and 85, had a mental health disorder, which was, met criteria in the last 12 months. So there is a huge demand. The other thing that it found was that only 45% of people who had a mental health condition actually sought help, and that there was 20% of people who actually delayed seeking help because of cost, access, other issues like that. So it's really concerning. Obviously, it's not just about Ramsay Health, it's about, the mental health sector and the fact that, for example, New South Wales in January saw that big walkout of hospital psychiatrists. So the mental health sector is overburdened, quite stretched. I think there's quite...
That was before this happened as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
That's right. So there's some big implications on access to mental health services, which is a really big deal.
Yeah, for sure, because for people, if they want to seek help, if
Yes.
nothing's available when they really need it,
Exactly.
They might just leave it and then the situation could get so much worse.
Exactly, that's right. And it's all about sort of that early intervention and making sure that the supports are in place for these people to be able to thrive in society. So I think, quite concerning.
It must be pretty devastating for the psychologists as well and the psychiatrists who aren't able now to offer their services.
Well, that's right, exactly. So we'll see what the flow-on effect is. But yeah, I think there will be some more developments and hopefully there's some mental health reform and some changes that can be made within the service to improve things.
Now, a lot of people will have noticed this. If you jump on your favourite search engine, particularly Google,
Yes.
and you ask a question, you'll often get an AI summary now. That's just normally generated.
Yeah, that's right.
I try to click through, particularly if it's going to a news website, because I don't trust AI.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people don't actually do that, and that's causing some problems for news website owners that rely on the clicks for profit.
Well, that's right. So this is becoming a bigger issue. So the story behind this is that Google AI overviews are now sort of taking over as those instant summaries. And even the CEO of The Atlantic this week has said that Google's becoming more of an answer engine as opposed to a search engine, which I agree with, because people are, using Google to ask questions, and when the answer sort of suddenly pops up, people aren't clicking through, as you said. And this is problematic because, one, there's a lot of misinformation. It's often mis-summarised. The sources aren't often referred to as well, or they're not correctly attributed to. And then, we've had, we talk about misinformation all the time, when these summaries are so accessible and people don't go to the sources, as you said, one, the news revenue drops. And, we obviously would like to make sure that journalists continue to do the work that they're doing, but also people don't sort of make that extra, don't go that extra step to have, make those inquiries about, is this information actually correct? Do I need to read more? Go into other sources, and I think that's always something that is a bit worrying.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we see it in the health space.
We go to Dr. Google.
Yes, I could imagine the people Googling their symptoms be like, oh, AI says all sweet.
Google says I have this, so it must be that.
And of course, lots of news organisations obviously rely on that to help with their profits.
Correct.
ABC doesn't, but we are the most trusted news organisation, so always jump on our website, double check.
Exactly.
Yes, the most trusted organisation in Australia. Now, the next story you've got is about sleep, something none of us on this show ever talk about and lack thereof. What's the latest on this one?
Yes, so this is a conversation article which I thought was quite interesting. It outlines a recent meta-analysis, so a literature review review that looks at 79 studies where people were followed for 12 months to review how sleep duration actually affected their health. And so we know that sleep is helpful for many reasons: muscle recovery, memory consolidation, emotional regulation, all of those things. And so what this study actually looked at was that they said that people who slept for short durations, so less than 7 hours, had a 14% higher risk of dying. Not surprising, because we know that sleep has an effect on.
Good. I remember the last time I got 7 hours.
Oh wow,
sleep.
7 hours. But apparently, some people, don't need as much sleep. So James, maybe you're one of those people. Nope. Okay. And then those who slept a lot. So this was the interesting part, that those who slept for greater than 9 hours actually had a 34% higher risk of dying than those who had the short sleep.
That is unbelievable.
So I saw this, and my initial reaction was, is that cause or effect, right?
Correct.
Because if you're sleeping more than 9 hours, do you have another disease, right?
And so this is where the source is really important. So I went to the source document and the actual research article, and you're right. So it's not just about the fact that you're sleeping more. So that's not what's causing the issue. It's actually, do you have an underlying health disorder that is causing you to sleep more, whether it's, depression, cardiovascular disease, perhaps you're not getting that restorative sleep that you need for various different reasons, whether it's pain. And so it's kind of a signal. And then, I think on top of that, we think about, what is our usual sleep like? Is it restorative sleep? Are you sleeping well? What things can we do to improve our sleep in terms of sleep hygiene? Avoiding screens, avoiding, perhaps caffeine before, overstimulation before bed. But yeah, it was just an interesting article to kind of think about too much sleep, too little sleep.
And something that everyone loves talking about, I've got to say.
Talking about, and wouldn't it be great to get sleep in a bottle and just...
Yes, please. You're onto something.
There we go.
I know.
I think if you do that,
only.
you'll be right for a few billion straight out of the gate.
But not my area.
Oh well.
Dr. Lenny Fong, thank you so much. We always appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lenny.